Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk, KFYO. We've got Lubbock County Commissioner for Precinct 4, Chad Seay, joining us in studio.
Morning, Chad.
How are you?
Doing well. It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. It's always good,
It's
right?
Valentine's Day.
That is true. Absolutely. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. Hey, we've got so much to get into. There's a lot going on with the county. Let's start off, and we were talking about this during the break, and I think there were like 2 or 3 maybe news stories on it. There wasn't a lot of coverage on the renaming of, we don't have Loop 88 anymore. It's different, right?
It's going to be Bypass Highway 84.
Ah, okay. So what happened to Loop 88?
Well, it's still Loop 88. It's just what we needed to do, and it affects the county's road bond because a lot of what's called Category 7 money is going to Loop 88 projects, which that means there's less MPO money for our county bonds. Well, by us redesignating Loop 88 as Bypass 84, Category 12 kicks in to where they don't have to rely as much on Category 7 money, which comes to the county. So that gives us a little bit more flexibility. Maybe the county gets more towards their bond. A good example of something that just came out of the MPO Advisory Board, which I'm on, is the first phase of Woodrow Road, which is $21.6 million. We're just about there being guaranteed we're going to get $17.8 million back.
Wow.
Out of that, 80% roughly.
Wow.
And if we continue on at this rate, being fiscally conservative and watching where the different funding goes for the projects in this area, there is a potential of getting nearly $40 million back out of that $99.5 million bond. So, which means we can either keep working on more roads, which after taking this job for a year, we're in a mess when it comes to roads, or we can pay the bond off early. That's going to be our choice.
Okay, so how did that work out to where you're going to get maybe $40 million back if everything aligns and goes the right way? How did that happen?
Well, the MPO board, they're allotted so much money by the state to work on roads in this area, and as being on the board, the biggest part of the board is made up of the city of Lubbock and Lubbock County because that's where most of the money is spent. Mm-hmm. So we have to come up with plans to give to the state, hey, are the projects that are most important to get done, Woodrow Road being one, right, which we're already in engineering. So the state looks at, well, what projects are out there that are going to be shovel ready? Well, since we did the road bond, we're going to be the most shovel ready because, like I said, we're already into engineering. We're already planning this. Woodrow Road is going to get done regardless of MPO money. Mm-hmm. But if we can kick in 80% from the state, that gives us the ability to move to other projects, money that comes from the bond, or pay the bond off early.
And
this is a 20-year plan that we're looking on. We're actually working on plans that go up to 2045.
Well, I remember when I don't know if it was the road plan or just a plan that was released maybe last year. I mean, you had there was a ton of stuff on that list of things that needed to get done, and I believe there were maybe 3 different priority levels on that. Yes, priority 1, 2, and 3. So I guess if we go
all the way back to, and when this bond first came out, I told them they're absolutely crazy. There's no way this is going to happen. I won't be for it. Their first suggestion was nearly $500 million. Wow. I told them, you're out of your mind. Yeah. So then they brought it down to Category 2 stuff, and they were right around $375 million. I told them, no way, no how. There's no way I can get behind it. So we came up with a plan that as the jail fell off, that's where we would start taking more and more of that same money at the same tax rate and putting into roads. So there's no increase in the tax rate to do these projects because the jail's coming off. In 2022, it's done. And right now, our interest rate on that is falling off to the point where we can start doing engineering, which we pulled a little over $5 million out of that bond. Now, as the jail comes off, you're going to see us pulling $20-30 million onto that bond. Yeah. But if we can get MPO money, we can either pay that off early or spend it on other projects that we have out there.
I know it's kind of a crystal ball right now. We're saying a lot of ifs, and if this happens.
There is, because we're talking 20 years out.
Right.
I may never be there again.
Yeah, exactly. And, what would you – I mean, what is something that would you like to see that money, talking about the future, should that, take care – get all the rest of the roads done, or is that pay off the bond early?
It's going to depend on which roads they are and how. Like Woodrow Road was pushed off. Something should have been done with it. Looking 20 years ago.
Yes,
that we should have started looking 20 years ago hey, we're going to see growth in the southwest into the south part of Lubbock County.
Right.
We knew it was coming, and it was pushed down the road, pushed down the road, pushed down the road, and now we're to the point where you can't get up and down it. Kids are getting killed. This should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that the voters of Lubbock County agreed that, yeah, this is a problem.
Let's talk about, you mentioned the jail and
Yes.
the jail falling off. We are hearing, and I know you're not going to endorse any of the candidates or anything like that who are running. So those of you who are texting in, he's not going to do that. He's not going to make any endorsements. But one of the things that I think just about all the candidates have brought up is the future of the jail, and is there going to be a need to expand the jail?
Every one of the candidates have come into my office and talked to me. One of the things that is pressing for me that we got to have, especially with our judges races, we've got to get through these cases faster because we've been pushed up against a 90% occupancy rate at the jail. If the Department of Justice comes in here and say, hey, this ain't going to happen anymore, we will be forced to add on another pod. Another pod, not talking about manpower and labor, but would be upwards of $40 million. So we have a $40 million cloud over Lubbock County right now. And if we don't get this under control, that's where we're going to be going. So that's the main issue I tell everybody. We got to get through more court cases. We got to get people sent down to the state and not hold them in our jail.
Yeah, I know you're not a judge, but I'm sure that all of y'all have talked about this. What's the problem? Why are things not moving faster in the courts in the court system?
Well, it could be as simple as, well, I was talking to Sheriff Rowe, and he was telling me one of the problems we have, we used to send anywhere from 20 to 30 people a week down to state prison. Now we're doing less than 10. So he has wanted to do another survey on where the backlog is. Is it in the DA's department? Is it in the judicial department? Is it part of his department problem? And that's something that we're going to be looking at. We did go out for an RFQ to find a company that will do that to tell us where we're at. And it may be with the next census, maybe we get another district judge. That could help. Instead of $40 million, the county would have to spend roughly $150,000 for a new judge position.
Right.
So that's way better than $40 million.
Yeah, the math, I'm not great at math, but that does sound a little bit better. So
I'm looking at every option besides the new pod.
Okay, so the new pod and this $40 million cloud that's hanging over Lubbock County.
But I did look at the population this morning, and we are going down. We've been, over the last 3 weeks, dramatically going down. So, which the more we go down, then we can actually take in federal inmates, which we get paid for that.
Right.
And they pay well. So I'm for that, definitely.
When does the Department of Justice look at and force you guys to move forward on building a new pod?
That would be a Sheriff Rowe question. Okay. He would tell you that.
You just know that it starts bumping up around that 90%?
Yes.
Okay.
They start looking towards, okay, you're fixing to not take in your federal inmates, which then we don't have that extra income coming in.
Right.
That's just a short-term solution. So we got to think long-term towards this.
Okay.
To head this off.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, it's going to come. As growth happens in Lubbock, but I'm trying to push that back as far as possible and plan for it. Because right now, with what's going on with our IT, with the transition from Tyler versus KeyCorp, we are bleeding money horrendously.
All right. We're going to talk about that when we come back. But before we do that, let's just say within the next, I'm just going to throw out 5 years, within the next 5 years, if either you're forced just by population growth in Lubbock County or DOJ comes in and says you have to build a new pod, what does that do to the plans that we had talked about earlier with the roads and the bonds? How does that affect everything?
We would have to go out for a new bond, which with all the bonds right now, that's a potential tax increase, which I'm terribly against that. I mean, I pay tons of taxes, and I don't want to pay any more than I have to pay.
Yeah. All right. Let's do this. Let's take the break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Lubbock County Commissioner Chad Seay. Chad Hasty Show, KFYO. All right. Chad Hasty Show, News Talk, KFYO. Lubbock County Commissioner Chad Seay in studio. We're talking about county business and things that are going on in Lubbock County. And just to clarify something out there, we have a couple of listeners who were a little bit confused on what you were bringing up about bonds. There's not going to be another need for a road bond anytime soon. It's if the DOJ comes in or even if you get to the point where we got a lot of crime in Lubbock, so if it gets to the point where there's just overcrowding or whatever, you're forced to build a pod, that's when another bond election would be needed, correct?
Yes, and hopefully we can get this under control and we don't have to look at this for 10, 15 years, hopefully. But if we don't be diligent about this, that's the big cloud over Lubbock as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we can talk about, small things we have to address, but $40 million is a huge, huge problem that if we work hard at fixing this, hey, we can push that down the road, and with growth where we're growing in the county, maybe with just new growth, we can fund something like that. And right now we cannot.
What does that mean by fixing this? Because, crime is rising in Lubbock. I'm sure you've seen the stats on it.
Oh, yeah.
God bless, Sheriff Rowe for what he's having to deal with in the county, because, it's everywhere in Lubbock. It's in Lubbock County. It's in the city of Lubbock. Crime is going up. So how do you fix the jail crowding situation? Because I assume nobody at the county is going soft on crime.
Oh, no, definitely not. Like I said, it may take through our next legislative session, getting another district judge in here to push more people through the court system and get them out of our jail. A lot of people don't understand that once they're arrested, they go to our county jail. Mm-hmm. They sit in county jail until they go through their court case, and then they're convicted, and then the state takes them from that point.
Right.
That's what I brought up earlier. We used to be sending 20 to 30 people a week down to state prison. At that point, they're no longer our problem. But now we're doing less than 10. So there's kind of a bottleneck here.
Right.
And we got to get it under control. That comes in with our judges coming in there. We've got to get through these cases.
You brought up before the break that the county's bleeding cash. Talk about that a little bit. What do you mean by bleeding cash?
Well, with our new IT program that's been implemented by Tyler Technologies, we're right in the middle of the transition, and we knew, previous county commissioners should have known that it was going to take extra money. A good example, we put $3 million into a contingency fund. That's for stuff just in case that comes up. We've blown through 2/3 of it already just on IT.
Wow.
So that scares me to do anything right now because I don't know what's going to come up between now and the end of September. So I'm real leery about spending anything right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Visiting with County Commissioner Chad Seay here on the Chad Hasty Show. Let's get an update real quick. I know you brought some information on the Expo Center. Let's get an update. How are things looking at that?
Well,
oh no.
I can tell you what I know. Now, a lot of people have been sending me emails and texts. We're breaking ground in June.
Yes.
No.
Not happening.
No. Now, if that means we're going to go out there and take a shovel and turn some dirt over, maybe. You will not see any massive construction. If we're lucky, it would be October. We do not have a complete set of plans that have been reviewed, signed off on, or anything. And a complete set of plans that size will probably take 6 months before we even do anything. Right now, we're in the pre-planning part of this. We've done this in 3 phases. We're going to do planning and pre-planning. Then we go construction. Then we go operations.
Right.
Now, I'm sure you heard it just like I heard it. What they want to build is around 50. The LCEC committee, they want to build something that's around $50 million. The county, we're only going to be able to get bonding for between 30 and 33 million. Now, like I heard from that LCEC board, they're going to come up with the other funding to pay for it. And then they're going to have a $10 million
so they've got to raise around $30 million.
Yes. Now, to me, that doesn't mean pledges. That doesn't mean commitments. I want to see money in the bank. Otherwise, we're going to take our $30 million. We're going to hold 10% of that back for change orders, and we're going to build a dirt arena just like they did in Taylor County. So, and I have not heard anything from the LCEC board since we went into this agreement for planning and pre-planning. So what they're telling a lot of people, the county commissioners court has not said anything about it because they haven't come to us.
This is what has been, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about this. This has been what is so frustrating about this entire project is, and I understand the voters voted for it.
Yes,
but you've got this group out there that's heading it up. They say, "Hey, we're ready to break ground." When most people hear breaking ground, you own a business,
yes, and a construction company.
When you hear breaking ground, what does that mean?
We're doing putting infrastructure in and getting ready to build a building.
There you go. Not put a shovel, get a photo op.
Yeah.
And then everybody go their
breaking ground.
Right. Then everybody go their separate ways for 6 months.
Well, the LCEC board has not donated the land to the county, which I think they got 30 days left to donate that land to the county, because this will be on county-owned land that's being donated by the LCEC group.
What happens if they don't do that?
We're back to square one.
What does
the
that
county
mean?
will have to take this over, and then we can go wherever we want and build whatever we want with our $30 million.
So if they don't turn over the land to you guys in 30 days,
yep,
and you think they have about 30 days left,
maybe 45.
If they don't do that, then they're out. They're out, and it's on Lubbock County?
Pretty much. So that's what our agreement says that we signed off on.
Okay. Is there any reason to think that they would not turn over the land to you guys?
I would hope not, because that would put a real big kink in all of this.
I would think so.
I'm going to make sure that we are not going to spend one dime of taxpayer money on this thing. And I've already been approached by some of the people from the LC. Well, we might need to take a little bit of tax money to get started. Nope, that's not going to happen. Will not happen.
Why would they need tax money to get started?
Because they don't have their funds in place yet. That's not my problem.
Right. Okay.
My problem is I've got to build Lubbock County taxpayers a building that they can do dirt floor events in.
When they say, and whoever approached you, when they said that we need tax money to start, sure. When they approached you about that, were they talking about we need hotel motel money or we need extra money?
Extra money.
Okay. That's not part of the deal.
No, it's not.
Right. So,
in my opinion, they're going to have $30-something million ready to go when we start turning ground.
And God bless you for saying that, because you're one of the only commissioners and one of the only folks who's saying we need to see money in the bank, not just pledges, because we know how good pledges can be.
What happened to Rager Dykes? They've had pledges to all kinds of stuff, and people got burned horrendously.
Yes.
That is not going to happen at the county. We went round and round and round with this bunch for 6 months trying to get the right contract done. And basically, the contracts I've seen at the county forever have always not benefited the county in any way. This contract, it benefits the county in every way. It's a tough contract for them to stay on the straight and narrow. And if they get off the straight and narrow path, guess what? We'll take our money and we'll go do what we need to do for the citizens of Lubbock County. All
right, let's do that. I'm going to hold you over for one more segment. All right, we're going to hold you over for one more segment. Lubbock County Commissioner Chad Seay here in studio. We'll be right back. All right, Chad Hasty Show, KFYO. We've got Lubbock County Commissioner Chad Seay. One more segment here in studio as we try to figure out this Expo Center stuff. And I'm sure you're still trying to. It sounds like everyone is still trying to figure out, which is amazing to me, that we're all still trying to figure out what's going on with this. How long have they had the Expo Center folks? Have they had the land, and they haven't turned it over yet?
Roughly a month.
Okay. All right.
And in our contract that we did with our pre-planning stuff, they have 90 days once they purchase to turn over land that belongs to the county.
Here's another concern that I have with the Expo Center. One of the things, or one of the reasons why we had to have it, that it was sold, that we have to have this building, is obviously to replace Coliseum, and also we're going to attract shows from all over the state of Texas, all over the United States. We're going to have world-class events that are going to come to Lubbock, Texas. City of Amarillo, they're about to vote on a 10,000-seat brand spanking new arena that looks really nice. And it's going to host the rodeo, and it's going to be big time. We're looking at how many seats here?
6 to 8. Like I said, I don't have a set of plans.
And so again, how do you can you compete with what Amarillo is building if you're in the competition of world-class events and bringing world-class equestrian events, and you're in competition with Amarillo? It's a
concern of mine.
Are they winning? If they decide to build it,
it's a concern of mine.
Yeah. All right. You said that they if everything is on time, with
and on track.
There's no way they turn dirt, like really turned like actual real construction until October. Right?
Well, if the stars lined up, it would be, in my opinion, in October.
What do you think what year do you think, if everything it goes right, what year do you think is an accurate timeline?
When are they going to have all their money in the bank?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to build a $50 million facility if they don't have their money. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm not going to put the county on the hook for that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We had a drive-by here who was saying that they live northwest of New Deal, seeing no progress on county road maintenance or addressing of the need. What do you say to folks who they live on roads that aren't getting fixed right now?
Comes down to money. We only have a limited budget on there. A lot of people don't realize the majority of the money that we use for maintenance, that's not upgrades, this is just maintenance, comes out of a 10%, not a 10%, but a $10 fee for every registration we get. And then we do bump it up with general fund. Well, the general fund has to pay for sheriff's department and detention center, which is about half of our budget. And then all the facilities we have, our courts and everything else, there's just not enough money there. If you want to see your tax rate stay low, you move to the county. You live on a dirt road. I'm sorry. And I have people that want me to spend millions of dollars on their road that might affect 3 or 4 families, where I can take that same amount of money and spend it somewhere and affect 100 families.
Right.
I mean, it's a hard decision. We have roads out there that are in horrendous shape.
Yeah.
And some of it is we've not been properly maintaining our roads. We're working more on that, trying to get a different mindset out there. Don't just go through there and blade it down and make it look pretty. Let's fix it for the long haul. I'm going to a convention next month that hopefully we can find some products that we can put into our dirt roads that make them more stable for the long term, not just it's pretty smooth and then now the next rain it's destroyed again. And we're not even talking about large rains. I was out last night looking at stuff just after this little bit of precipitation we had, and you'd be amazed at how badly these things are tore up. Another problem we have out on our county roads, we have people that come out there that have their big bad 4-wheel drive trucks and Jeeps that have no business on this county road, go out there and tear it all to pieces. I've caught several people out there, they're stuck out there and want a county maintainer to come pull it out. I tell them, no, call your daddy and get a wrecker. You had no business on this road to begin with. Now, if it's somebody you live on this dirt road, I feel sorry for you. But if you live in the city of Lubbock and you're just out there trying to play with your toys, sorry, don't do it on our county roads.
Before we wrap up, long term, how are finances and everything else looking at Lubbock County?
With the road bond stuff, it looks extremely good.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that thing. Other finances, we got to get our IT transition behind us. That's where a lot of the unknowns are. And when I say bleeding money, every time they come in, we need more money for this, and then you just kind of bow your head and you can't shut it down, and we shut the entire county down, and you just kind of have to grin and bear it, and we have to get through this. This is something that got started before I got there. I wished I'd have been there before this because we could have handled this in a much better way. But now we have contracts we can't get out of.
Yeah. How long is this process going to take?
I hope we're done by the end of next year.
Okay.
Not this year, but next year.
That's a long time.
I'm crossing my fingers. We have got to put this behind us.
That's a long time.
We've got to build our reserves up. They pulled our reserves down whenever they got into this contract.
Yeah. Last thing I need to ask you about Lubbock ME's office. What's going on with that?
Oh, doing terrific. Dr. Lang has done a phenomenal job. All of the stuff pre-NAG has all been caught up. NAG has 29 more cases to finish up, and then we're completely caught up. Good. We've been using Tarrant County. Most days we're getting a turnaround in 3 days with a body to ME's or Tarrant County. Worst case scenario, 2 weeks. They've been doing a phenomenal job.
Do you see any changes in how we're handling the ME's office in the future? Are we going to bring someone back to Lubbock, or
maybe? Now, before we even look at that, we've got to get up there a complete clean slate. We have tissues that have been backlogged there. We're going to have to deal with, dispose of, get back to families. We've got to get this thing completely spotless. There is nothing backlogged at all anywhere. Then maybe we'll talk about bringing in a pathologist. Now, with the pathologist, they will not be the administrator. That's what has happened for far too long. We've had a pathologist be the administrator. It is so hard to get a pathologist license for the state of Texas that we have to pay these guys $350,000 and up. And then they get in there, well, I'm the administrator, and they think that a lot of them have this air that I'm God and you don't tell me what to do because I can go get a job somewhere else. Well, if we have an administrator, they know coming in that, hey, I have a boss and I'm going to have to respond to this boss. Dr. Lang has done a phenomenal job.
All right.
I'm proud of him.
Lubbock County Commissioner Chad Seay, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anytime. Just let me know.
All right. Will do. Chad Hasty Show, KFYO.